Jason go? Well, good evening, everybody. Hello, I'm Joy Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the author community, the Book Business Bosses, helping you get your message to the masses, turn your words into wealth, and be a book business boss. I am super excited to be on this evening, day two of the book fair and virtual summit. Today is day two. Super, super excited for those that are in the room. And thank you so much for being in the Zoom room with us this evening. Feel free to click on the chat and ask us questions periodically, and we'll stop and start and all that good stuff. It's going to be a fun time. I am, again, Julia Royston, and so excited to be on this evening. Tonight is poetry and fiction. Woo woo! Two of my favorite things, and so I'm super duper excited about that. Poetry is was my very first book. Now I've changed my cover two times, but that's my first book of poetry. And so we're going to start out with the poets, and then I have fiction as well. So we'll be talking a little bit about fiction, just a couple things about the writing process. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments and in the chat. And I look forward to popping over into the Zoom and Zoom room in the chat, and then also looking at any comments that are on. Hold on, let me turn the volume down over there. There are people in the room on YouTube. So, woo, it's just going to be a fun technology night. Yay! So, we're ready to go. Alrighty. So, I first want to start off with the poets. So, I'm going to unmute, and we're going to go in alphabetical order. So, we're going to start off Mr. I'll unmute you as we go because somehow I'm getting some feedback. So, so we're going to start off. We're going to the far west, and I want Mr. Brooks Crittenden to tell us who he is, where he's from, and what he does. And I want him to tell us about his book, and then I want him to spit one poem. Take it away, Brooks.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Brooks Poetry Crittenden. I'm from San Diego, California. Been around traveling. What I do, like she said, I am a poet and also an artist. And with all that coming out with my first book, which is going to be Poesy, Scattered Thoughts, volume 1. It's about 19 collective poems that I have written throughout the life that I've been in so far. So it's powerful poems, very uplifting, spiritual in any way that you can take it. You can always take something out of the book. How people could buy it is on Amazon. It's on Amazon right now, ebook. And then if you want a personal copy with an autographed copy, you can cash at me at TLK Poetry. I have PayPal, TLKpoetry@gmail. And for social media, also Instagram, TLK Poetry, and DM me and just let me know what you guys think about the poems. And poetry book. And like she said, I got one poem for everybody tonight, and it's called Felicia. So I want to see, any comments, anybody wants to let me know what they think, just let me know. And here it goes. I'm going to tell you a story about this young lady. Her whole life, the some will feel it's crazy. Some will be outraged trying to fix the problem because they feel it's not right. Some folk would say, shit, that's just our life. Felicia was this young, beautiful black girl, natural hair, couldn't stand to wear a weave. Anything in this world she believed she could be. In the hood she stayed, had a job that decently paid, and came home with good grades. What else more would her parents want? Acceptance letters from colleges, first in her family. She was the real deal, but the boyfriend of her life gave her dad a bad feel. This is a dude who didn't pay attention in school, getting in trouble with homies because he decided to act like a fool. Always in her ear, reciting, I will be here with me, there should be no fear. They have been dating for about 2 years, and still her innocence is as precious as an oyster's pearl, but she knew his birthday was coming up and what he wanted most in the whole world, so she presented him her oyster's pearl, lips to lips, flesh to flesh. When it was all done, she laid there on the mattress, not knowing how to accept it. After his birthday, he started acting different. No longer come over and just listen. All he wanted was the flesh to flesh on the mattress. It was a run-on sentence. Someone forgot to put a period. She crying to God she can't be pregnant. She calling her boyfriend. He acting ignorant. He said, a baby not mine. She said, how? When you was my first time? He said, girl, you must have lied. Stop calling my phone. Leave me alone. Building enough courage to talk to her parents at home, telling them life isn't fair. They couldn't afford it, so they put their daughter on welfare. Schools acted if they didn't care about the situation. Teachers didn't dare to pay attention in the image she once was. People started forgetting. Couldn't afford college, baby started working. People in her ear, why working 9 to 5 when you can get more twerking? Doing a couple of shows, having fun, taking off your clothes, really is nothing to be ashamed about. It's not like we never seen what you got. A life decision she had to make on the spot because money she needed so her son could eat. Felicia threw something nice on, went to the salon and got a weave. Doing the occupation her parents couldn't believe, Doing it for a while, she tell you the money was all right. All she was doing was drinking, taking drugs, and taking off her clothes all night. Needing more money, she started tricking. Reminiscing on the past, the old self she started missing. Her name went missing when men refer to her as all kind of. I just talked about one girl. It's hard for me to paint a bigger picture. I told the story to someone. They told me I don't believe you. My reply was, one event can change a path in your life. Just ask Felicia. And thank you.
All right, come on through, sir. Oh yeah, come on. Okay, come on through. Oh yeah, okay. So I have to. One more thing we forgot, Brooks, is that your book is going to be on audio. So the audio will be coming sometime very shortly because I've heard the audio tracks. They're very good. They're very, very quite professionally done. We just need to package them and get them ready for the audiobook world and for the digital download world. So he's done a lot of the hard work. Something that a lot of poets don't do is that he is already, when he rolls it out, it's going to be in 3 formats. It's going to be in print, it's going to be an ebook, as well as audio. So, you know how the young do. They can get in the studio in no time flat and make that happen. So be on the lookout. Follow Brooks Crittenden. It's on Facebook, Crittenden Brooks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Reverse. So you should be able to follow him. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook.
Yes, Instagram is TLK Poetry.
TikTok in a minute because I'm gonna get him on TikTok in a short minute. I'm on TikTok. I can't wait to share that. But he'll be on TikTok. So be on the lookout for Brooks Crittenden. I'm super happy. As I say, I'm his big auntie. I'm old enough to be his mama though, but I'm gonna stick with auntie because I'm cute. But thank you so much. If we were if we were able to go live, he would be in shows. I'd hook him up with it. Now, who you don't know is Brooks next. JC Prolific Jones, Prolific's connection. She's the queen of spoken word in this area.
Okay.
She's the queen.
Okay, the queen.
She is the legend, She's not just a legend in her own mind. She's a legend in this town. And that's so she is she's the girl. She's been pretty much doing it the longest. If people were really truthful about JC, they would give her props as being the girl who kind of really took it to the next level and over the top. So we're gonna go from the far west to the coast. We're gonna come on back home to Louisville, and let me unmute you, Miss Prolific. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell about your book and tell about what you do and all that good stuff. Go for it.
I'm not gonna tell everything I do because then we'd be on here all day.
I know that's right. This is true. This is true.
But I am Prolific Jones. I am a published author due to BK Royston because I took her, or she took me to where did we go? Fisher's, Big Boy.
Yeah, we was eating burgers and fries.
Pieces of paper and
a binder.
Old bill
yeah, a binder.
Napkins, a binder, like everything that was in there. And I was like, okay, here's my book. Here you go. And she was like, okay, baby. And she pushed it right next to me. She said, I'm gonna need you to type that up. And we can go ahead and let's go. Yo, we can do it. So I was like, okay. So I typed it up and everything. And thanks to her, only because of her, we have this book. This is the second cover because I was like, I think I need to change it. I had a couple of words in the first one, and the church wouldn't sell it in their bookstore. So, so I said, I think I want to go ahead and do a little re-edit, clean it up a little bit, and then see if I can go ahead and get back in the bookstores as far as at the church. So, I'm a published author. I have an event called the Prolific Experience where I get prolific connections, people that I'm connected to that are poets, singers. Sometimes I have live bands to come and perform at the Prolific Experience. And I will say, and I'm not trying to my horn or anything like that, but the Prolific Experience is like none other. So it's neo soul, it's R&B, it's just everything. So other than like rap, I don't do rap, but they say poetry is rap. But I have a whole different situation on there. I have my whole different mindset. But that's another Zoom. But yeah, author, make handmade jewelry and all other kinds of things. So later I'll be posting all the stuff I've been doing while we've been on this break because, we have to get like these real jobs. So I was a substitute teacher until they happily gave me an involuntary vacation as everybody else is on. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing, hey. I was excited. So I was like, thank you, Jesus. This is what I asked for. Hallelujah. But yeah. So anyway, I've been doing a lot of other things. So I will just connect with me on Prolific Jones 502 on Facebook. My website is prolificservices502.info. I am on Instagram and Twitter also. I'm trying to get better with that. Pray for me. Because I'm using just Facebook all the way.
I know, but Facebook done got crowded. The internet ain't loyal.
Me personally, I think Facebook knew what was going to happen.
Well, yeah, we're not going to go down that road. Come on through.
But I'm going to read, first I was going to read Bearing My Soul, which is the opening to my book, and it's like really, really little. But I think I'm going to read my story, which is the whole reason why this book ever even came about.
All right.
My story. I'm not going to stay with it tonight because, yeah, I can't do it tonight. Let's go. But here's my story. God knows all the things I used to do. I fought, cussed, and if you didn't watch me, baby, I'm still your man too. All these things I would do because of my self-worth I never knew. I didn't think about the fact that I am a child of the King, didn't realize what it meant to be cleansed of all sin and iniquity, from being abused by a mother who said she wanted to be my friend, to being molested by both women and by men. Wasn't told it was all wrong, so it continued again and again. From not understanding the feelings that I had inside, from feeling that sex is what I needed to get that natural high. Started to wonder, was this a sin? But I only did it for love. Wonder, was this something God would cleanse me of? Found that he would, and there was no limit to what God can do. What he's done for others, he'll do for me, and he can do for you too. From having a baby for a boy who didn't deserve a child, then being dumped by him so he could help take care of someone else. From fighting with my fist, even while I was pregnant, to fighting with my mind and leaving that life behind. From being told that 85% of me was good enough to be a woman, but the other 15% of me still have more to be worked on. From realizing it wasn't me, but the person judging who was 100% wrong. From wondering why I, prolific, had all these things to go through, to realizing it was so I could tell my story to you. Now I'm thanking God that I made it through. Now you know my story and all the things I've been through. You've seen some of my pain and what I had to go through to get here. Hope you can understand my story. Hope you can figure it out. Hope you can see through my story just how good God is and what he can do for you.
Oh yeah, come on through. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so we were on talk. Well, I'll go ahead and introduce Ms. Burnett, and then we're gonna kind of do a little small round. I'm not gonna leave Michael Young for long, but I want to just really talk about kind of the poetry writing process. It's National Library Week, so I did want to really kind of talk about that poetry, but I'll be back and unmute the poets in just a second.
Good evening again.
Take it away, Ms. Burnett.
How are you again? Good evening. I am Burnett Clemens Nettles, and I currently live in Montgomery. I was born and raised in Mobile. I am a 25-year veteran educator, and presently I work in the Montgomery County Public School System and as an adjunct English instructor. My book, can you see it?
Yeah.
Can you see at least a picture of the cover?
Yeah.
It is presently in process, and it should be ready by the end of April. It is my first book of poetry. It's my first collection of poetry. But the title of my book is Unspoken Words, Life's Heartfelt Whispers. And it is a poetry collection that speaks to the words in our heart that we really rarely say. And they are words of pain, loss, confusion, love, a little bit of lust, but really it's about...
That's my favorite one, Unzip Me. Girl, yes. Yeah, see it. It raised some eyebrows like,
yes, it did. Yes, it does.
Don't let mommy fool you now. Come on, Montgomery, Alabama.
Come on now.
Come on, let's go down to 65. Come on through.
Come on down. This book and all of my other books can be purchased at Amazon.com. And I also have an inventory of my other books, which are devotionals, if you prefer that they be shipped. But I will soon be getting an inventory of unspoken words.
Yay!
I'm excited about that. Now, I didn't know we were reading, so I did find one to read.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Not Unzip Me.
Oh, okay, well. I like that one, but go ahead, read one.
Okay, this one is The Mosaic. I heard the whispers of a broken past that hit the ground and shattered into a million pieces. The pieces of my heart, my soul, of me, like grains of sugar on the floor. So I prayed. And as I seek to gather my pieces and hold them close to my heart, I realized that they cannot be glued back together, at least not like they were before. So I prayed. I gathered the pieces, piece by piece, the blues of shattered dreams, the reds of broken promises, the deep greens of trust, the purple of hopelessness trying to reign supreme. And as I gathered the pieces and pressed them together, the pieces seemed to change. As I gathered the pieces, my picture seemed to change, creating a new picture of me to see a new reality, that I am not the same, no longer one-dimensional, but the sum of my parts, all parts, the good, the bad, the ugly, the broken. So I praise. My blues, reds, greens, and purple now sparkle together, glittering in the sun of newness. I am not the same. I am a new creature, created in God's splendor. So I praise. So when I hear the whispers of my past that seek to taunt me, I remember that I am the sum of all of my parts, for I am a mosaic.
Come on through. Come on through. Come on through. Okay, so I'm gonna do like they do in church, right before the preacher. So right before, I'm gonna open it up for questions for the poets first. I'm gonna read a poetry, and I want the poets to be ready with what comes first. Um, the image that you're wanting to portray during your poetry, or do the words come first, and then you draw the image. Okay, so hold on, get that in your mind. So this is my first book of poetry season, all new season of Word. It was a new season in Word devotionals for Divine Living. It's my very first book. I changed it to for my 50th birthday. My husband took me to Hawaii, so that is the looking out in Maui from the hotel. So every time I look at that, I think I want to go back there. But I just have one short poem, Winds of Change. The winds of change are blowing. People are moving back and forth, coming and going, up and down. They're switching places. The spirit is calling, changing of spaces, separating and intervening, streamlining and realigning, fine-tuning and pruning, standing and reprimanding. The holy army is being deployed, squadrons, companies, and battalions. Open your eyes. It can't be ignored. Others are blind and will not see the invisible force setting up to fight evil from eternity. Watch closely. Don't miss it. It's coming in fast. Be prepared. Keep working and soon the great snatch. So, amazingly enough, I wrote these poems going through divorce from 1994 to 2006 when married Mr. Royston, started a whole new life, new name, new state, new everything. And then I realized when I look back on these poems, they had nothing to do with woe is me and he cheated, and I didn't have nothing to do with none of that. They were all God-centered and God-focused. So that's what helped get me through. And I know we talked last night about on day one about, getting through and needing inspiration and divine inspiration to really keep moving. So that's just one. I don't read my poetry as much as I could or should. So the answer to the question, Brooks, what do you think? Does the visual, like Felicia, did you see her? Is that a girl you've known? And then the words came, or just words came and then you paint the picture?
Well, for Felicia personally, was more of a vision and then wrote out.
Okay.
Some poems that I have written are words first. So it just depends on my mood. But for the most part, it could be vision or words first. But
okay, so either one. Okay,
either one.
Either way. It can do either way for you. Prolific, which comes for you first? The words?
It's more so the words. I don't know if you've ever had something just keeps nagging at you. And when I get that little nagging feeling, I know it's time for me to write. And it's just like whatever's happening at the moment, that time. And I'll try not to write because I'll get lost in it and it won't leave me alone. So I have to get up and just write. I don't care if it's 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes I dream it.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a dream. And I'm like, okay, I got to write it down.
Right.
So this is what happens. It's more so life in whatever's going on in a dream.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Vernette, where are you? Words, imagery.
It's generally the experience. It's the vision, the experience, sometimes the hurt, the loss, the love. That's what happens first. And then I have to listen for the words.
Okay.
And just like Prolific said, sometimes you don't want to write the words, but they won't go away. They start in the morning and they just keep on until you write them.
Right.
Really have to be careful, because the words that God sends you, he sends them for you for that time, for that moment. And if you delay, sometimes you lose them.
You got it. Now that is the reason why I say, do you agree, Brooks? I'm sorry, I muted you. That's the reason why my phone is my life for writing. I have an app for that where I speak it. Before I had the voice app, before they had that voice app, I would call my house phone. And Brian would say, did you want to leave this? I said, don't you erase that. You know, I write songs that way. And I'm like Jeanette, I have to, when I'm in the moment, I got to get them in the moment, because otherwise they'll be gone. But I hear the words. He says, here's the first stanza. Here's the first 4 lines. There. And then I'm out. He gives me the tune and the first words. And he said, okay, good, go take it from there. And then I can write the first verse, second verse, third verse, all the other verses. And I can get a hook, I can get a bridge, I can get all of it musically and with poetry. But you know, he starts it off. He's like, boom, and I'm like, JC, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, hold on, I'm up. All right, I'm up.
Well, send us that app, because I can write and drive at 75 miles an hour.
Oh. Okay. Well, okay, y'all remember where she lived though, right? Okay, so we're in Montgomery, Alabama though. It's not a small town, but you know, it's not New York and it's not California, it's not Texas.
Just be careful.
All right. Any questions in the chat before we move on? That was fantastic. Any questions over there? Thank you. So Jen says in YouTube, all the poems were wonderful. Yay!
Thank you.
You can get them all. Follow all of these authors on Instagram, Facebook. You're gonna find them on Twitter, because I'm gonna have them over there on TikTok. All that. Follow me. I'm Julia Royston on TikTok. I'm not gonna be dancing, but I think I'm gonna sing. So I did last night a 1-minute thing, and we're gonna do that again. So don't nobody go nowhere. All right. So I'm gonna meet. If anybody else have question quote before we go on, and then I'm gonna mute everybody, and then we're gonna go to we're gonna head to fiction. All right. I think we have internet stability issues with Mr. Michael Young, but that's all right. We're gonna fight through this. Hello, sir.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm fine. The fiction writer himself. There's JC. We're so glad to have you. Tell your wife I said hello.
I surely will.
Mr. Rita, I said hello. Please introduce yourself. Tell us about what you've written. Yay!
I am Michael Young. I am an urban fiction writer and a newly mystery thriller writer.
Yeah.
My books are mainly something to hold your attention for an hour or two, take you away from the stress and troubles of your daily work. Just something so you can dive into, something that's seems like reality, but you can trying to find the word for it, you can associate with it.
Okay.
All my books are something that's very believable.
And very, very definitely believable. So one of the main things I always want to ask Michael when I interview him every time is that he's a man, but he has strong female characters. His characters are strong female characters. And so, I mean, you know, even this time, okay, now Forgotten Lies, y'all got to read that. You got to get that. If you like a good, like, no, I can't believe it. If you like that at the end, Forgotten Lies will have you look creeped out. I couldn't even lay his book out except in the daytime. I could lay that out at night. I'm like, I can't sleep. But so really respond to that. Tell us, you know, really you have, and then I've got a question from the YouTube for the poet. So I got to go back there after it gets finished. Go ahead.
Well, I chose to have strong female leads because lately, as you know, in music videos and TV and movies, you don't really see a strong, everyday woman taking the lead, unless now they're superheroes or something. But your everyday woman can be strong in her own way every day. She doesn't have to be a superhero, doesn't have to wear a cape, doesn't have to have extraordinary powers. She just has to be able to believe in herself, have confidence in herself. And I get this from a lot of women that I talk to. I'm basically everybody's big brother.
Okay.
So they feel at ease telling me everything and talking to me about anything.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, I tell you what, if Black Girls Rock, and it's all over Michael Young's books. So tell us the four. I think we're working on his book.
Number 4 is about to come out.
Number 4 is on the way. Yeah, it's up. It's up. So tell us about your 4 books.
The first book I wrote was Is Happiness Worth the Pain? That is kind of like a girl, almost like a girl trip, but they don't go anywhere. It's a group of friends and how they're dealing with their daily life and how they're dealing with work and new love and stress and betrayal. The second book, To Serve and Protect, City and Panic, that's a twist on the police drama. Instead of you having your strong male lead, there's 2 female Black leads. They're the ones that's called to save the day, something you don't really see on TV. They don't need the saving, they come do the saving.
I like it. I like it. Like a Black version of Cagney and Lacey.
Yes.
Kind of like them.
And the third book, Wildest Dreams, that is something not just women, but everybody has thought of. Almost everyone has a celebrity crush. What happens if you would meet your celebrity crush and they wanted to be with you? Could you handle their lifestyle if you chose to be with them?
I think that is phenomenal, and it's a good read. It's a good romance, love story type of thing. It's really cool, but it has a little twist, so we can't do the spoiler alert. Okay, no. And then Forgotten Lies.
Forgotten Lies is my mystery thriller. Actually, that was the third book I actually wrote. I wrote that before Wildest Dreams. I'm just now putting it out.
Okay, we got a part 2. Forgotten Lies.
It may not be an actual part 2, but it will be within that world.
Awesome. Well, I'm just hold on, Michael. I'm coming back to you.
Okay.
So I had a question in the because tonight is all about poetry and fiction. So the question is from the YouTube channel. This is to the poets, do you ever feel like your poem is incomplete if some of the lines do not rhyme? And so, hold on, let me unmute the poets. So let me ask you this first. Do all of your poems rhyme?
No.
JC, do all of your poems rhyme?
For me, it's for the most part, not all the time.
JC, do your poems all rhyme? Can she hear me?
I don't know. I think she's frozen.
No.
Go ahead, say that again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Your screen froze because you've been looking down for the longest. Oh, okay, go ahead and tell me.
No, the majority of my poems rhyme,
but they don't all rhyme.
Right. Raise my hands. Okay, good. All right, but yeah, no, most of my poems, they do rhyme, but they don't.
And you don't feel like that because I don't know, you're having a horrible connection. I don't know what happened.
Some of them, it'll rhyme for a certain amount. Like the last one I did, it'll rhyme for so long, and then.
But you get the visual of it. You get the visual of it.
I don't know why it ended up being like that, but Sometimes because I'm thinking it over in most cases.
Okay. So here, let me so the
I don't
the
know
question.
either. See. Let me mute.
Yeah, because because you're breaking up. So I hope did that answer your question, Miss Tillman. Let me
Because,
know in the YouTube.
you don't always, well, for people that's getting into poetry, you don't always have to rhyme. There's many poetic devices that you can use, and like it doesn't just have to be on rhyming. So that's what I gotta say to that poet who's trying to, you know.
Okay, so JC and I had a discussion not too long ago. Now, Ms. Burnett, she's not gonna do all this cussing, but Brooks, I want to direct it to you. So, you know, we were at she was at an event, and then I had somebody give me a book, and they just had just the N word, N word, N word. I mean, does it, why do you need to put a curse word in something? Is it because it fits, or you just gotta cuss? This is not a judgmental question. This is not, ooh, you shouldn't cuss in books, because I have fiction that I'm gonna talk about in just a second. That some of it's spicy and some of it's, church. So, for you, because when I read your poetry, I wasn't offended. I knew exactly where you were. I was right with the rhythm of it and everything. No. Go ahead.
No, yeah, because growing up in church, off top, you already know if you're gonna put the Most High name, you better not cuss. Like my mom is on me, but I feel like there's different ways to praise Him as long as you like it's a word, as long as you're not using it in a disrespectful term. So like in Felicia, you know what I mean? Like I'm talking about a stripper, and
Right.
in reality, that's all they hear is the, is the B word. That's all they hear. That's all they know. So for me to say it even once for them to relate to what I'm saying, I don't have to say it throughout the whole poem. No, I don't. You know what I mean? Even once would be like, oh, girl, you hear this? You know what I'm saying? Just one. So I guess if you're going to use it, you got to know why you're using it. If somebody asks you why did you do that, you got to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not being,
respond.
you know what I'm saying?
It's not. Now listen to me. If I had you at a youth conference, which is a possibility, I could recommend you. Honestly, that's a realistic poem, Felicia is, because there might be some young girl in that audience who has either thought about it, been approached about it. So I would honestly, as me, this is just me talking, I would tell you to do Felicia. Right. Because I want you to realistically, in that room of 12, 13, 14 to 18-year-old, they know some girl who a guy tricked her and slept with her and happy birthday and she's pregnant, the whole night. She's done that. But if we're in a church type setting, not in a community setting, but if we're in a church type setting, I would say, okay, now the make it the clean version. But I want the message of it. Mm-hmm. I want the message of it without necessarily the curse words in it. Now, if we in the club and they serving it up, gin and juice, go for it. It's out there because there's adults in the room. But it all depends on the setting. And I think that's what we were talking about is, poets using their artistic license. Okay, we got that. We got that artistic freedom and we there all day long. And I'm the main one. But you got to know where you are and who your audience is and who you're going to be receptive to. And then if I sent you in a corporate setting that was school administrators like Ms. Burnett talked, I need you to come up with a really clean one that would help drive kids to stay in school. You know what I'm saying? So it just so they can take this young Black brother in front of that audience so you can be a role model and a light. As opposed to, woo, I'm all an artist. You got to be a role model. You got to switch gears right there.
Yes, man.
So, so it just all depends. And fortunately, I'm going to hopefully be around to guide you to say, no, Brooks, we don't read that there. No, that don't do that there. They need you over here, but we're going to be on this platform, knowing the difference in the platform. Does that make sense? Man. Because if I sent you to Ms. Burnett's church, in Montgomery, Alabama, which could be a possibility, especially if it's a youth rally or a youth event.
Yeah.
I need for you to not say, "Oh, we had to pull him off the stage, girl. He was up there."
You know,
I need to
like
know.
I said,
I know you know better, but I'm just saying, young people, everybody doesn't know better. They just, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is my art. You coming against my art. And I'm like, come on, boo.
no, at the end of the day, my book was in my own way to exalt the Most High. Now, I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect, and I'm gonna make sure that I try to be. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? If I do have to take, like, if I go to Miss, you know what I mean, her church and everything, and she was like, just don't cut. That's okay, because at the end of the day, his message still needs to be out there.
Yeah.
Regardless what word is in.
Felicia's message, I need you to convey that. I need you to convey about, you know, giving praise in the Most High, but I need it to be cool. I need it to be relatable. I need them to be able to find your poetry on TikTok, because that's where they hang out, you know? Does that make sense, JC? I'm sorry. I know we having feedback issues. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I hope that answered. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Jason? Okay. Ms. Vernette, y'all good?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's roll back to poetry. Yay!
Okay.
No, I mean fiction. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got caught up. I got caught up. Okay, so I wanted to kind of highlight just say a couple of things, because I'm not going to talk long. You know, as you know, I can talk, but this is my Women of the Fellowship series. This is book 1, which is Jillian. This is book 2, which is Vernice. This is, I love the covers because, I got to get in front of the camera. I love the covers because they're married people on the covers. So these are the Macklins. They're in Nashville, Tennessee. And then this is Joy and Josh Thompson. They're right here in Louisville. She's a model. He's a singer and songwriter. She does a little bit of everything. And he is a musician, and he does a little bit of everything as well. So that's book 2. That's set in Chicago. Book 1 is set in Cincinnati. Book 3 is Irma. She is the elder statesman of the group. But those are my in-laws. Those are my husband's parents that are on the cover. And it is set in, starts off in Texas, and then I guess we eventually get to California, but that's where we are. So that's the Women of the Fellowship series. All of my fiction books, because people are being introduced to my fiction, are 99 cents. Yeah, they're 200 and 300 page books, but my fiction is, my ebooks are 99 cents. So this is what the church ladies buy. They love it. They love the whole series. Okay, so that's the church ladies. Then some of the church ladies buy this too as well. So I am on BK Royston Publishing brand, as well as a Royal Media and Publishing brand, but I write under a pen name, Cadence Royal. Okay, so that's Hank. That's book 1. This is the Men of Roberts Junction series, and I don't have my and then there's Dwayne, which is book 2. So I'm as they say, I'm a publishing house mate to both J.C. Vernette and Michael Young and Brooks. So I write all of it. I write a lot of it. You know, my Women of the Fellowship, you know, my father-in-law was like, daughter, because he was the pastor for 30 years. He was like, daughter, what's in this? You know, so I had him edit it. He's like, don't put me on no cover of no book that's going to be crazy. And I was like, no, sir, I wouldn't do that. So it's one of my favorites. As a matter of fact, the characters that are in this book are, I have created another series, Church Business, which is spicy as well, based off those characters. So I'm writing that now. It's going to be a 3-book series: Church Business, The Setup, the Scandal, and The Solution. So it's that. So I want to talk about just one thing. I'm going to unmute everybody, and especially Michael. I do want to ask Michael Young, why are you not unmuting? Can you unmute yourself? Oh, there you go. So for you, we talked about the words or the imagery coming first, and we're almost done. But does the character come first, or does the story come first?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Does the character come first, or the words come first? Oh, I think he froze. So hold on to that thought. For me, in this series, the characters came first. The characters always come first, and then for me in fiction, they do the talking. So Hank is based on an actual man who was long story short, he was a serviceman that came into my school. And if you close your eyes, you would think he was a brother. He walked like a brother. He had tats. He was bald. He talked like a brother. And I was like, what sister is he dating? He cannot be. I mean, the way he hangs out and interacts with the plant operator. So I made him. I took the image that I saw of that guy every time he came in to take care of something. I had a bee's hive inside my radiator. I had to clear the room, and then he had to come in and fumigate it. And I'm like, and the way he talked and everything, I'm like, I just see a black man so I made him fall in love with a sister. So that's Hank. So that's based on somebody real. And then this, Dwayne he just likely would have had a brother as a best friend. So they worked together and they was road dogs. Okay, so the character came first. For this series, the character Jillian is me. That's what I asked God about doing fiction, and he said embellish you and Brian's story. So that's where that came from. Did all my fantasies. Bernice, she had a good friend. I don't know. She just basically became her friend. And then this is based on actually a lady who had a lot of the similar in here in Houston, Texas. So these, for me, the characters come first. So Michael, you're back. The character comes first, or the story? You want to write a story about a woman and you figure out the character, or what do you do? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Michael, can you hear me? I think he froze again. Okay.
Well, Julia, is he back?
Oh, I think he froze again. No.
Can you hear me?
There you go. Okay,
yeah.
Now we can hear you.
Okay.
The character or the words come first. Every night God is with us.
I'm sorry, my signal's going in like a groundhog. I'm sorry.
I understand. So the character comes first or the words? Oh, you done gone out again. Type it in the chat.
But let me say this. When we talked the other day and I listened to you talk about the characters, I don't write fiction because I can't hold that many people in my head. But it's amazing to me how many people you can hold in your head and their story just unfolds. And it's just like you can go from one person to the other and you see how they interact and you see what they do and where they're going. It is just amazing to be able to hold that many people in your head and you see it unfold and then you start to put it together on paper.
Well, it's like a movie.
Characters have a life in your head.
Yes, it's like a movie. So yeah. And that's what I liken it to. You know, when I teach writers how to write fiction, I say that you need to establish it and have it in your head like the scenes of a movie. And you know, even with poetry, I've got to be able to, I hear the words, but I've got to be able to visually see it. You're making me, like I say, unzip me. And I used to live alone. I was divorced for 13 years before I remarried. And so there were 4 of us in a 4-plex. And so when she said unzip me, which is very intimate, but I couldn't reach my zipper to zip it all the way up or zip it down. So I would go knock on Miss Sister Kathleen. There were 2 nuns downstairs, 1 on each apartment. I would knock on her door and say, unzip me before I go up the steps. And she was like, okay, yeah, I'll zip. And then I would go. So that visual of Unzip Me, of course, could be just as platonic as it was. I can't reach my zipper because it's too big or too long or too short, or as intimate as a romantic relationship. So, those being able to see visually, I'm extremely visual. But yeah, I like movies. I'm not a movie addict as much as when I'm watching a movie, even if it's a Hallmark Channel movie, I'm looking at it totally different than somebody else. It's like, what is the next scene and what's going to happen in that scene? So I've even had people who do movies say, Julia, your books are perfect for it. We just got to find the funding to fund your movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I take you on a journey and I roll it just like a movie. So I have a question for all of you, and hopefully Mike will be able to do it in the chat. But so have you ever thought about anything else you want to write? Any other genre or poetry just is?
I've got some short stories that I want to do, start putting out. And they're really short, so it'd be a book of multiple short
collection.
Stories. Exactly. But I haven't gone that far. I get so many poems from day, and a lot of times.
Yeah, that's number one. Yeah, and it's just amazing because that's it. I've written maybe one or two. There was one in The Gifted. There's one in Everyday Miracles, but this is it. I mean, you would think as much as I've written that I would write more and more and more, but no, I poetry just doesn't come to me like that. It just not anymore. That was I'm kind of a one and done, a one hit poetry book wonder. But it works for me. It works for me. It works for me.
I'm working on too is actually making some of my poems into actual songs. So I went to the studio and I got one little song that I haven't even put out yet. Nobody even knows about it. It's done though, so I'm gonna let you hear it first, Julia.
Okay.
If you tell me what you think about it. It's not on the Christian side. Everybody singing Christian music.
I'm open.
Yeah, exactly. So people be thinking, and then Jason, what's going on? That kind of deal.
Jason loves Jesus. Don't let it fool you.
I love it all, but I'm human too.
Yeah, I know. So, Brooks, anything else you think you want to write?
No, I really do want to not conquer, but keep taking on poetry for a little bit before I go and
do something else,
like a book. You know what I'm saying? Because if I really did want to write a short story, I could write and still poetic view in my own way. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Take your creative license. You do know that some people have taken a poem and done movies and done documentaries and done this all new season of Word is not only a book, but it's I have a CD and a DVD with it. So I did a one-woman show where I read my poetry and did music. So it's quite easy, you just get a jazz trio or just a keyboard like I did and have somebody musically do something and inspire, because Joe Logan was the bomb on mine and he did a phenomenal job. So it's still there. Miss Vernette, I know you've already ventured out into other stuff. So
yeah, I have the two devotionals, Moments of Grace, which is a devotional planner, and Why Should I Be Bound, which is a 30-day devotional. But the next book of poetry, and I say next loosely because God keeps shifting what I think I ought to be doing next. But
come on, God.
The collection that's in preparation right now is titled When I Wake and You Are Gone. And it is a collection of memorial and celebration poems of those that we've lost. And when at the beginning of the year, God said, go get that book, because I had been assembling those poems. And I thought that was the next book. But I had no idea that I would be spending this year writing poems for people who had lost people. And sending them to them. My friends who lost someone, a friend of mine lost her father in the last week. A high school friend of mine lost her granddaughter, and that their baby was less than a year old.
Oh, that's too
So
much. Oh no,
it
that's too
is
much.
always my hope that those poems help celebrate the life that we miss. And so
Yeah.
that's the next book.
Okay,
Hopefully.
so I had a question in the group from Michael Young. We got the Wildest Dreams was book number 3, but the question was from Dr. Randy Weber. What do you do your research for your since you're a man doing such strong lead characters?
Mm-hmm.
Michael, are you with us? Ooh, I'm gonna come out there to Dixie Highway and okay, so I'll answer that question because I've asked him that before. A lot of it is the job because he works every day at Ford, and so he meets people. His wife works at a she. They do a boutique. They do a lot of different things, but I know that on. Am I answering this correctly, Michael, about your research for strong characters? I know he does on his job, and then there's ladies who come in the boutique where his mother-in-law owns Pretty Woman Boutique, and I know there's always women in there. So he really is one of those people who interprets and filters it through a male perspective. But I love it because he is his perception of the woman is they get through it but they come out better on the other side. You know, they may have struggles, they may fall down, but they get back up. So the things that I've read of is he pays homage to the women rather than calling out our name, although her friends may, but calling her out our name and degradation of the woman. So, you know, having those strong characters is primarily what he sees between his wife, his mother-in-law, and people on his job. He's able to see that. So we need as many characters such as that portrayed as much as possible, and so that we can move on. Well, it's 9 o'clock. I have enjoyed this. Yay!
Well,
And
you said it real quick, Julia. Let me say this real quick. So, during this break, I was able to tighten the closet and clean off shelves, and I found this. You see it? Can you see it?
now that's what. Oh Lord. Okay, so I can't believe she had that. Okay, so that's what the put the cover up first. Come put that up again. That's what the first cover looked like. You see how young I was? I was cute then, but I was young then.
You're cute.
So that's what the CD looked like, the DVD, and that's what the first looked like. All new season and word.
Yeah.
So yeah. I can't believe you found that. Oh my goodness. So that was my one woman show. That was the first thing that we did. So thank you so much, you guys, for being in the Zoom room. Thank you guys for being in the YouTube room. Oh my gosh, over the top. Okay, Facebook, we're gonna be great. Come on through. And I had somebody who was trying to get in but struggling. So the internet is not letting us be great, but we're gonna do it tonight. Thank you so much, everybody. Tomorrow, same time, same station, same place. Super excited. I need the authors to hold on. I'm Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the author community, the Book Business Bosses. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you're ready to write your book, such as they are, and have published their book, hit me up at www.talkwithroyston.com. I will have the replays on all my social media by tomorrow, day 1 and day 2. So hit us up, follow. Have a great day.